It's okay. So the question is, what is the experience of enlightenment? How is the experience of enlightenment? How can you understand the experience of enlightenment? So when I say Atma Darshanam, Brahma Darshanam, to know the self is to know the supreme reality. Is it an experience? Is it possible to understand it? Is it possible to how is it possible? How is it possible to understand the experience of enlightenment? Is the question. Now we have to understand the word enlightenment. Okay, enlightenment means through light on something. Okay, throw light on something is called enlightenment. So what is this light? Light is light of awareness. To become aware of something is called enlightenment. Okay. So now the word enlightenment is not used for all subjects. It's especially used for self-realization. But enlightenment is a general word. Okay, let us understand this word called enlightenment. If I look at some object like this, let's say this book, this CD, I can study it very clearly. I can see the color, I can see the combination, I can see the shape, right? I can see an object. Okay, so why I can see is because my awareness, light of awareness is falling on the object. I am becoming aware of this object. If the object is behind me, I am not aware of the object. If the object is in front of my eyes, physical eyes, I can see and I can understand about object. Correct? So, the first level is to see is to understand. And once you understand the object, you are enlightened about that object to the extent of your understanding. Correct? You are enlightened about the object to the extent you see it, you can feel it and touch it. So do you see one important thing? Only about the objects in the universe, there is some possibility of knowing something about it. Right? And when they come into your field of awareness, you know something about it. If they are not in your field of awareness, you cannot know about it. It's like a light beam. Whatever is in the path of the light beam, you can see and understand. What is beyond the path of the light beam, you cannot see or you cannot understand. It's in the darkness. Correct? So there is awareness, and counterpart of the awareness is ignorance. You can be aware of something and you can be ignorant of something. What you are aware is where your mind or where your attention goes, gets focused. That's called awareness. In that awareness, you can understand something about what you are being aware of. Is it clear? And that I can say in a very, very, very loose way or very, very colloquial way, you are enlightened about that object. Okay? Because your light of awareness has fallen on that object. Correct? It's always easy for us to understand an object more easily compared to the subject. You can comment about anybody, how their behavior is, how they are looking is, how they are, what right they are doing, what wrong they are doing. Okay? Because they are objects. But the problem starts when something comes as it becomes a part of the subject. This is given through the example of Dhritarashtra, the blind king. The king was blind. Actually, it is one sense it's a true story of Mahabharata which happened about 50 years back. It's also a story about the spiritual blindness. When you are spiritually blind, the Dhritarashtra was blind, which actually allegorically is spiritual blindness. He ignores all the faults done by his children. Okay, but he is very sharp and very clear about the faults done by others. So our mind gets biased when a subjectivity comes into picture. Right? So you may be aware of some object, but if you have a subjectivity doesn't interfere with that object, your awareness is very much more sharper and clear. The moment your subjectivity comes there, your observation becomes biased. Have you seen that? For example, a picture drawn by somebody, artist. You say, hey, what is this picture? This color combination is not good. You make a comment. But if the same picture was drawn by your daughter, you'll say, this is the most beautiful picture on the earth, because it's your daughter has written the picture. Right? So the awareness, there's an interference by what you call as me, subjectivity. If the subjectivity is not there, your awareness, whatever the light falls, you understand that object in whatever dimension is there as clearly as possible. Understand? Your awareness of something becomes, your awareness, understanding of something gets interfered with the something called subjectivity. Correct? Now, is it possible to become aware of something without any subjectivity interfering in your understanding? That's what is called enlightenment. How the world will be if there is no subject interfering in the light of awareness. The subject is the shadow which creates the shadow which falls in the light of awareness. It's the cloud. The subject is the cloud. The sunlight always shines. Sunlight is the awareness. When the cloud comes in the path, there appears to be some darkness. Okay. So now this darkness is the shadow. It's called avidya. So that is the concept of a feeling of subjectivity which comes interference in your awareness. Clear? Now, is it possible to become aware of anything without subject itself interfering in the awareness? That's real called enlightenment. Right? So, in any awareness, I, me, mine, not interfering in the awareness is called enlightenment. For example, a judge is there. Somebody has done a crime. Judge, when he gives a judgment, his judgment is impartial and objective in nature. He goes by log. Now the same judge, if the criminal is his son, will he be able to exercise the objectivity when he gives the judgment? Okay. A judge may perhaps do it because of his training by profession. But most of the people are not trained by in their life to be able to be aware of something in a non-judgmental way. Everything you observe becomes, there is a judgment jumps into picture. That girl, she is beautiful, she is not beautiful, she is so and so. The car, very powerful. The car, very high quality or rather high end car. So anything we want to put a label, right? This label of a object is the interference in the observation, becoming aware. The moment you put a label, you have made a judgment about that object. So then the interference has come. Depending on the type of label you use. Then label you use also based on your biases. You say, hey, that black guy, no. Your concept is black guys are somewhere of lower intelligence. So that all these concepts you pour onto the object by in the process of observation, by giving a label, and label is a part of your bias. So can you live without labels? Can you observe something without without the interference of subjectivity? And the subjectivity is nothing but mind. The mind is the subject. So this is what is called enlightenment. Okay. Always your subject interferes in the process of your understanding of anything, and this interference comes in the form of judgments. This interference comes in the form of labeling. This interference comes in the form of bias. Typical example which I give is, normally there is a cow. When you open the door of the house, a beautiful, divine, white cow is standing in front of the house. Looking at the cow, different people react very differently. A person of certain religion sees the cow as a divine. To see the cow in the morning is very auspicious. So he goes and does some puja or namaskara to the cow. Another person of some other habit pattern sees the cow as a food item. He starts thinking of the food in the afternoon. Another person who is a businessman starts thinking that how much money he can make by selling the cow. A child may start looking at the cow and think of the milk. An artist may look at the cow, may think of a divine cow, Kamadhenu. So the object is same. The perceptions are different. Why the perceptions are different? Because there is a subject coming into picture in the process of observation. The subject is nothing but you. It is vasanas, impressions which come and interfere in the process of observation. Are you clear?
So for a jnani, the cow will not create any concept in his mind.
I'll come to that. Nani, I have not yet come to that. First I'll speak of the world, how the normal is, right? So there is an interference in the process of observation. That is the key. Okay. The subject interference in the process of observation. So a pure perception becomes a corrupted perception. A pure observation becomes corrupted observation. And actions also follow accordingly. This is what a normal human being is. Always the subject comes in the process of interaction with the world. Okay. In a jnani, the subject doesn't interfere in the process of interaction with the world. Subject doesn't interfere unconsciously. Subject may come, he may consciously pick up a subject and interfere, act. For example, a jnani may take the nature of a guru to teach. It's only conscious act, not unconscious interference. Whereas Adnani, when he interacts with the world, he starts thinking that he himself is a guru. Understand? So that interference by the subject comes into picture in case of an ignorant person. Is this first clear? The perception of anything is corrupted by impressions, vasanas and samskaras. And accordingly, actions also are corrupted by vasanas and samskaras. This is the story of Dhritarashtra and Kauravas. Are you clear? Anything you see, you start feeling I, me, mine. This interfere in the process of seeing. Now seeing is no longer seeing. Hearing is no longer hearing. Thinking is not no longer pure thinking. Everything gets corrupted by I, me, mine. Are you clear? Is there a way of living where this interference is not there? That's what is called enlightenment. That's what is called enlightenment means. The interference by I, me, mine disappears. Unconscious interference. Consciously you may choose something. Identity. Okay. Otherwise, most of the people live unconsciously, the I, me, mine. So this is what I call as, what you call as short sight and short sightedness of human nature or short sightedness of nature. You know what is short sight and what is long sight? In the medical terms, what is short sight and what is long sight?
Short sight is you can't see objects at a distance. Long sight is you can't see objects which are close by.
I thought it's the other way. Short sight means you cannot see the objects which are closer to you. Long sight means you cannot see the object which is away from you. Maybe my understanding is not correct, but short sight means
What he said is like in accordance to me. That's what spectacles.
okay. So what happens is that
Spiritual terminology, I don't know.
what happens is, as something becomes closer to you, you start ignoring, your vision gets blurred. If some child is doing a mistake, you can see the mistake very clearly, that mistake. But if your son is doing the mistake, you cannot see it because he is closer to you. Okay? You understand? As something becomes closer to you, means closer to psychologically, you cannot see the mistake. You can comment very clearly on the politicians who are in the ruling power, but you will never be able to comment about some people whose party you follow. It's my party. Alright? So this world is, now the world gets split into what is mine and what is not mine. Psychologically. Right? What is not mine, you are already enlightened actually. You are very clear. Okay, what is mine, you always have a blurred vision of in some sense. You cannot see it very clearly. Right? Now, there are three kinds of observations possible in the world. One is something related to me. One is something not related to me. Okay. One is about I am neutral. Right? About something which I am neutral, my perceptions are very, very clear. It's not distorted. Can you sit slightly this way? I cannot see you. So when about something which I am neutral, then my perceptions are not very distorted. Something which doesn't belong to me, okay, my perceptions are still distorted because I look at from a viewpoint of me. Understand? Got it? So this a neutrality of viewpoint, where there is no judgment, where there is no comment, where there is no interference from the mind, is called being witness, sakshi. Sakshi is neutral. Okay. Have you heard the word called sakshi? It's called witness. As somebody is called as a witness in the court, if he is able to report things as they happen, not according to what he wishes, not according to what is the accused wish, how according to the accused wishes. So it should be a neutral reporting. So when you see the world in a neutral vision, how the world looks, that's called enlightened state of mind. Are you clear? And obviously, you are enlightened about so many things in life, where you are neutral. And obviously, you are not enlightened about so many things in life because you are already partial. Are you clear? So the problem comes when something which is closer to you. So now what is closer to you? Your body is closer to you, your mind is closer to you, your intellect is closer to you. Can you become aware of your body? When you become aware of your body, then body is no longer a subject but becomes an object. When you become aware of your mind, the mind itself becomes an object and you become the subject. When you become aware of the intellect, intellect becomes your object and you become the subject. Are you clear? So from that perspective, enlightenment means total objectivity in the brackets, in the in the quotes. a total objectivity about life is called enlightenment. So, world is no doubt objective about you are objective about the world, but your subject, which is called body, mind and intellect, becomes interference because you think you are the subject of body, mind and intellect. A person who is able to observe, become aware of body, mind and intellect and the world simultaneously is called enlightened one. When you become aware of both simultaneously, then there is no interference from the small ego, self. Have you understood what I am saying? Is it clear? So, to give a very simple example, let us say these are glasses, spectacles. I am wearing this and I am talking to you. In the process of wearing this and talking to you, I forgot that I am wearing the glasses. Okay, what has happened to me? The glasses have become part of me. I have forgotten that I am wearing glasses. Are you clear? Now suppose you become aware that you are wearing glasses, then you understand that your eyes are different from the glasses. Right? Now, why that helps if the glasses, probably, let's say instead of plain glasses, it is colored glasses, yellow glasses or red glasses. If you forget that you are wearing yellow glasses, you start looking at the world as yellow. If your glasses are red glasses, you start looking at the world as red. The world is neither yellow nor red. It's your glasses which are yellow or red. But you have forgotten that you are wearing a glass which is yellow and red. And how to remove the problem? You become aware that you are wearing a glass. Okay. So you are wearing a red glass. Okay. Then, does the color of the world change red from red to yellow? World still looks yellow, red. Right? Because you are wearing a red glass. But you are aware that you are wearing a red glass, and that's why you don't say the world is red. The redness of the world is no longer reality for you. Understood? Now when you are interacting with the world, you know that world is not red. Because of your glasses, the world is appearing to be red. You may not see which is the real color of the world because you are still wearing the glasses. Right? But at least you know that world is not red. Right? So similarly, when you become aware of your body, mind and intellect simultaneously along with the world, you know that the world is not your perception. Okay? You may not know what is real nature of the world, you may not know. But at least you know that what you are seeing is not a reality. Okay? All that happened, what has happened to you people or anybody is that we are wearing glasses, specs of some colored glasses, and we are seeing the world, and we have forgotten that we are wearing the glasses. And what is this glass? Not physical glass, but the instrument called body, mind and intellect. The body, mind and intellect, we see the world and we feel the world is something, and we feel it is real because we have forgotten that we are wearing body, mind and intellect. Body, mind and intellect is an instrument we are using to see the world. That we have forgotten. And that's why whatever you see, you start seeing as if real. The moment you become aware of the body, mind and intellect, what's happening in the body, mind and intellect simultaneously when you are observing the world, you are free from the concepts about the world. You may not understand what is the reality of the world. Right? So now what has happened to enlightenment? The subject has become the object. When you observe the world, your body, mind, intellect was the subject, and you are observing the world. That's why interface was there. Now, if you are able to see the world along with the body, mind, and intellect, then object and subject are seen simultaneously, and you are free from the interference of the subject in your perception of the world. Understood? So, example I will tell you how it happened. So there is a jalebi. Okay. So now when you see the jalebi, immediately start feeling, I love jalebi, I like jalebi, jalebi is very nice, right? You start feeling, okay? That means you are superimposing on the jalebi, I like, I love. Same way, if you say a bitter gourd, I don't like. Is there something like or dislike about bitter gourd or jalebi? It is your feelings you are superimposing on that. Are you aware of that feeling and superimposition which is taking place? If you are aware of that, then you are conscious of that. Then there is no interference. Then you may be free to take a decision or free to act. But if you are not, then what happens? Oh, I love that much. As if you are becoming part of the love. That object is there. I love that game. Oh, I love that sportsman. I has become part of that sports. I have become part of that game. Okay? You have forgotten that you are wearing something called body and instrument, which is just a mere instrument. Do you understand? You have become a part of the object. There is your interference. There is an interference. What is the rule?
Back in the day, jalebi was only an example. Nowadays, we literally have a jalebi. After you explain, you can eat it.
So, is there a way of living in the world with total objectivity? That is called enlightened state of mind. That's what is called Buddha. You have to be aware of the world, aware of the body-mind complex, body-mind-intellect complex simultaneously. Right? Then you have to understand that any perception that's interference by the subject, interference by you, I. Now what you call as I, please tell me. What is your I? I love the game, I love the sports, I love this dish. What is this I? Is your I a body? Okay. You confuse your I with the body. Your body is continuously changing. Every moment it is changing. Right? Couple of million cells are born and die every minute. Your body was not same what was there yesterday and what is there today. And next moment it will be different. It's a continuously changing body. But when you are interacting, your body is become I. You have started becoming, subject has started taking the shape of I. You have forgotten that you are wearing a body and you start become the body. I forget that I am wearing a specs and my eyes become part of the specs. Similar to that situation. I love something, or is the body love something? Body is an instrument. No, I love that game. Why you love that game, my dear? That's because memories. Mind is nothing but a bundle of memories and feelings. So you start identifying yourself, which is I, with the memories and feelings. So that game gives you feeling of nice feeling, which is actually a part of your memory. No, the match is taking place between this country and opponent country. So your memory or feeling is that you are a part of this country, which is actually a memory feeling. So your interference happens because of the mind. Mind is nothing but a bundle of memories. Mind is nothing but a bundle of feelings. Mind is nothing but a bundle of emotions. Feelings, emotions and memory together interfere in your perception. Right? So it's distorted perception. Perception gets distorted. Is there something loving about jalebi? Jalebi is jalebi. Is there something loving about sports? It's a sports. Your neutrality is gone and you have become part of the happening in the world. That's what is called samsara. You are got trapped in samsara world. Can you be neutral to happening in the world? Like a lotus in a pond. Lotus is born in mud, grows in water, opens to the sunlight. To be in the world, but being not made up of the world. To be in the world, but not be of the world, is what is called enlightenment. Similarly, we are born in a society, in a culture, in certain circumstances. That certain circumstances are like a mud. What is it called? That's where we are born. We are born in certain family. We are born in certain culture. The biases, thinkings, habit patterns of that culture and society starts getting into our consciousness very early in the life. We can't see the world without those biases. You understand? You can look at the world through a certain viewpoint because you are born in certain family, or you are born in certain religion, or you are born in certain country, or you are born with certain economic conditions. Your vision is corrupted, or vision there is interference in the vision because of where you are born. Then when you interact with the world, there's so much of forces in the nature, whether it's an office or home, the politics is there, there's a fighting is there, there's a lot of tussle is there, duality is there, good and bad, happiness and sorrow. And you get affected because of the biases which are imbibed already in life. To be born in mud, to live in water, but to open up to sunlight, that's called enlightenment. So, coming out of the cultural conditioning, social conditioning, religious conditioning, economic conditioning, and that's called coming out of being born in the mud. To live in water means when you interact with the society, there's a lot of turbulence, push and pull. There's pain and pleasure. It's like water, it keeps on flowing. To be unaffected by, untouched by water is called a part of the enlightenment. Then this lotus flower blooms with sunlight. Sunlight is the wisdom. Sunlight represents an awareness. To be aware is called enlightenment. That's why lotus is the most beautiful symbol of an enlightened state of a mind. That's why all the divine pictures in the Sanatana Dharma, they have the divine being sitting in the lotus. Why God should sit in the lotus, my dear? Okay, the seat is lotus. The seat represents your posture. Okay, it's enlightened being. In your life, the posture is born out of lotus, means an enlightened state of mind. Posture is not just sitting posture. Posture is how you face life. So then there is a lotus feet of the master. The master is depicted as standing on the lotus. Right? No God has really sat on the lotus. No master is standing on the lotus. The lotus stand represents the stand of the master is the lotus, which is enlightened wisdom, which is pure awareness, love and compassion. Then there is a lotus in the hand of the Lord, which represents that there is a promise of enlightenment. So for example, Narayana has Shankha, Chakra, Gada, Padma. Shankha is conch, Chakra is the disc, Gada means there is a weapon, and lotus. Right? Now if you see the four hands, two hands in the upper side and two hands in the lower side. So the two hands on the lower side represents the world. In the world, there is one is Gada. Gada means the mace. Right? It's called mace, I think. That's English. It's a sort of instrument used for punishing. What is the punishment in the world? Law of karma. Action and reaction. Law of karma is the punishment. So that's why the lower hands represent Gada or mace, which represents the punishment, law of action, karmic laws. Then there is a lotus in hand, which also means there is a promise that you can get enlightened in the same world without being in the world as a human being, without going through struggles in life. There is no possibility of enlightenment. Animals don't have a possibility of enlightenment. Animals have a peaceful mind, some at least. They don't have a possibility of enlightenment. You have to be born in the world. You have to face the law of karma, karmic actions, reactions, and then grow out of that. That's why the lotus is there in the hand of the Lord. Then there is a mace. Then there is a conch, which is Omkara, represents the primordial sound, which is responsible for creation. Then the Sudarshan Chakra is actually the supreme intelligence. So these are two in the upper hands, which is actually beyond the world. What you see is the world, and what you don't see is this Omkara and Sudarshana Chakra. So these are the symbolisms. Correct? To see the world without interference of what is called I, me, mine, ego, is called enlightenment. That means total objectivity about the world. When that happens, you realize your body, mind, intellect also is a part of the world. It is not different from the world. The subject and object are one. How is the subject and object one? Your body is made up of Panchabhutas, 5 elements, right? Which is a part of the world. Your feelings and thoughts also out of grey matter, which is brain, which is also part of the world. Somehow you have separated yourself from the world and say, this is the world and this is me. There is an interference already happening. Understand? You have separated yourself from the world while you are a part of the world. Conceptually you have separated yourself and you are taken a posture, internal mental posture that I am separate from the world, even though you are not. And then you are looking at the world. So that's where the interference is there. It is like a knife can be used to cut any vegetable. Knife can cut any vegetable. But when knife starts cutting itself, it gets distorted. Knife cannot cut itself. So you are looking at a world which is a part of you and trying to make a comment and judgment about the world itself is a distortion. So when you become aware of the world and your body, mind and intellect simultaneously, that is called pure awareness. That's called Sakshi, the witness. So when that happens, okay, then what happens to the perception? Is the world same as it was earlier? Is the world different from what it was earlier? The subject and object have become one. And you are the witness, neither the subject nor the object. Now, is witness different from the witnessed? So, this is what is called enlightenment. Let us take these stages. First stage, for any human being to be born is to naturally identify the body and mind. Say, I am body, mind and intellect. Because he doesn't understand or she doesn't understand any other reality. Right? So then, world appears to be separate from you naturally because you are a body and mind complex which is very different from the world. It's different from you. World is different from you, separate from you. Correct? Then, when you see this vast world, there is somebody who is running this world also, and that person, that object, that person or that entity you call as God. Naturally, God of different culture, God of different religion, are different kinds of God because of a culture and background where they are born. And your God and my God are not same. My God is always superior because what is mine is always better than yours. Right? You are looking at the God also from your concept of the culture and social conditioning. Correct? So now, there is a journey, outer journey, to find the reality of this world. Right? Or search for God in some sense. Because somebody who is running this massive universe, let us understand that guy or that person or that entity. And this search, called outer search, is called science. Starts probing deeper and deeper and deeper into the nature to find out and come out with the laws which are actually part of the nature. Okay? This is what has been a scientific discovery of science. Understand the nature of the world. The more you understand the nature of the world, the more you get deeper you go. But now, every understanding is, the subject is still there. The bias is still there. Correct? So science is called objective discovery of truth. How can there be objective discovery of truth as long as subject is not understood? Right? So the objective discovery of truth was what is called Newtonian science. Then gradually quantum physics come into picture. Then what quantum physics says is, any observation gets interfered with the subject. The subject comes into the process of observation. Observer interferes in the process of observation. So there is no longer no objectivity. Hello, Divya? Hello? So there is no longer science, the objectivity, what you call as objectivity, is no longer there because subject is there. That's why some of the physicists say after quantum physics, the world became a shadow, world of shadows, because everything what you see, subject is interface is there. Right? What is reality gets blurred now because now no longer the subject and object are different. This is the challenge. Correct? So suppose you observer, you separate out from the object, you become a pure witness, there's no judgment, there's no comment, then how does the world look like? That's called enlightened vision of the world. The world no longer looks real. The reality of the world is changed, is no longer real. A person who is body-mind focused, the world is real. And for him the God is a solid being. God is naturally different from him. So as he progresses in the journey of self-discovery, inner journey, he feels he is a part of the world, and God, he is a part of the God, which is actually, there's a relationship. Okay. So then, as he progresses further in journey, he understands it's not a part of the world, which is actually body, mind, and complex. Body, mind, and complex, and the world are one.
What do you mean by that?
What you see is mind. World is nothing but mind only, projection. Right? Your body, mind, intellect, your instrument is not separate from the world. It's part of one whole. Correct? So you are only witness of that, sakshi. Right? So in the second stage, when you feel that you are a part of the larger whole called world, right? Because you and the world are not different. So then there is a feeling of oneness and connectedness with the world. That is called God realization stage. It's also called Savikalpa Samadhi. I am a part of this larger whole. I am a part of this bigger universe. I am not separate from this. There is still a concept of I am, and there is still a concept of the world. Okay? There is a feeling of connectedness, oneness. Right? So then gradually you move a further progress and you understand that I am is also a part of the world. I am not different from the world. I am pure witness. Alright? Which is non-judgmental, no comment, nothing. It is not a part of anything, any part of the world. Witness is not a part of the world. Witness is consciousness. It's not a part of the object. So that's called Nirvikalpa Samadhi. Now you are free from the impressions and vasanas when you observe the world, momentarily. And if you are free from vasanas and impressions when you observe the world anytime, that's called Sahaja Samadhi, natural state. Then the world is no longer solid and real. What is the real nature of the world? You will never be able to conclude, because there is no way you can make and understand it. Your eyes are limited, your mind is limited, senses are limited. So all that you say is mithya, or an appearance in the reality. The only reality is the self. With that attitude, with that understanding, when you start living, it's called Sahaja Samadhi, natural state. A person in Sahaja Samadhi, natural state, is no longer living with the identity of body, mind and intellect, unconsciously. But consciously, he may adopt a body, mind and intellect as a guru or a husband or a teacher, and never forgetting his true nature, which is consciousness. So that is a state of called enlightenment. In other words, to put enlightenment in one single sentence, enlightenment means total objectivity in your perception. The objective includes subject and object. Subject is body, mind and intellect. And real subject is ego, I. So if you are able to observe this simultaneously, there is a state of enlightened mind. Any questions?
Yeah, so the I am is still individualistic, right? I mean, it depends on the body for the reflection.
Correct. So now, if you are a witness, that I am also is an object.
Yeah.
Right? If you are a witness, I am also is object. It's no longer you.
Yeah.
Correct? So I am disappears. Then when you are interacting with the world, there is no other person. You are only the witness is there. So that is called Brahman. Everything in the universe is Brahman. So first stage is Atma Darshana, to know yourself. To know yourself as I am. Okay. When you know yourself as I am, everything in the world is a part of that I am. Because everything is that same reflection. So, you know somebody in the world as a body because you think you are a body. Right? When you think you are not a body, but when you think that I am, pure I am, which is I am principle, it's called Atma, individual self, then you experience everybody as I am, everybody as the self, one self. That's called God relation. Now when you realize that I am is also a reflection and witness is the reality, then no more you are identifying the reflection. So then there is no more individual persons anywhere in the world. Then you are operating from the substratum, which is consciousness, which is witness. You realize that everybody, every personality in the world is just a mental concept, a projection. That's called Brahman realization. So when somebody becomes enlightened fully, then he realizes the whole world is enlightened. In the sense, whole world is consciousness only. There are no unenlightened people in the world. A Gnani sees himself in every being, every living being or non-living being. And when he says himself, it's consciousness, Sakshi. When you see Sakshi, then there's no other, there's nobody else. Because somebody else will come with the concept of ego, I.
So staying in the I am, that cannot be done with the mind, right? Because
No. What happens is Sakshi, there's an identification of the Sakshi with the body, mind and intellect. One level. When you drop that, identification happens with the I am principle. So when you drop that I am principle identification also, you remain as a pure Sakshi. So this is the stage of progressive movement. Any questions? Is some light or thrown on enlightenment? This is very clear light. This is sunlight, like sunlight on enlightenment. Then you are liberated. You become free from all impressions and vasanas. Mukta. When you see no other than yourself, that is the state of enlightenment. When I say not physically, seeing means experientially or intuitively. Still some doubt, questions are there about enlightenment? How is that possible is different question. How is that experience possible? But that's what it is. I have explained unexplainable in as clear terms as possible. Okay, so to say, in deep sleep state, is there somebody else other than you? There's nothing is there. Right? In deep sleep, there's a feeling that there's nothing. But you are not aware that you are there. In an enlightened state, you also become aware that there is nothing, but you are there. In awareness. Nothing means no thing. Okay? What is no thing means? Thing is nothing but a thought. Right? And no thought state is called enlightenment. When you say no thought, it's no thought about not about the object, no thought about the subject. I am thought disappears. I am body, mind and intellect, thought disappears. Identification of the body, mind and intellect disappears. When that I am disappears, then there is enlightenment. When you identify the I am and say I am is the only reality, then there is a state of oneness with the universe. That's called God realization. Nirvikalpa samadhis, like Nirvikalpa samadhi or Sahajasthiti samadhi is beyond that. A saint normally lives in a God realized state. A sage or enlightened one lives in a Sahaja samadhi, which is beyond God realization state. Jivan Mukta. Is the matter so complicated? It's so simple, not at all complex. All that you have to find out is who is that I which is asking the question. All that you have to find out is who is that I am which you speak of. All that you have to find out is when you speak I, which I is speaking.
So when you say someone sees things as they are,
Hmm.
it means they don't see it as it is not. That is it.
What is reality can never be explained, because your perceptions are limited, your mind is limited, your intellect is limited. But what you think as reality is, you understand, is not reality. It's only Vyavaharika Satya or operational reality. Paramarthika Satya or supreme reality is unexplainable. Let us take in the other direction. So, you are in a room. The room is dark. If somebody asks you, is there a chair in the room? You say, I need a light. Somebody asks you, is there a table in the room? You say, I need light to see. If somebody asks you, are you there? You don't say, I need light. You say, I am there. For you, I am is taken for granted. That I am is actually there. You know intuitively you are there. Right? For you, I am doesn't require any proof. That I am which is there is called your real self. But only problem happens that you identify that I am with the body, mind and intellect. I am doesn't require, the supreme self doesn't require any external light, no light. That itself is light. I am is taken for granted. But only thing is that I am is always confused with what is not real I am.
So suppose there is a person, whose all five senses are not working.
Okay.
But then the self I am feeling will also.
I am feeling will be still there, no?
Will be there.
So the self-realization is beyond the state of I am feeling. I am feeling is also a part of the mind. But of course, that when you hold on to I am feeling, dropping all other thoughts, you start getting a sense of oneness with the universe. Because that I am is the foundation for the universe, manifestation. That's called God. When you go beyond I am sense, then you go into consciousness, which is pure realm. Long story about a short subject. You can say that. You can say enlightenment. Light on enlightenment. You can give the name.